Good afternoon. I'm going to wait a few minutes before I get started. Use my card this way. It's World Health Day. It's just now turning 1 p.m. That's the beginning of my talk. So let me give a few more minutes for people to log in. So World Health Day, April 7, 2020. What a day. We're right in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, and everyone's interested in health. So I've been working in health for 32 years. My name is Kathy Walker, and I'm on the Facebook page, Facebook Live, of the gallery upstairs. So the gallery upstairs is located in Milton, and I've known Heidi, who runs the gallery, since over 25 years now. I'm located in Toronto, but I go to Milton once a week to work with people there. What I do is I work intuitively with the body and as a homeopath to reverse the root cause of symptoms. That's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about determining what symptoms come from, what can be done to reverse them, what the body needs, and I get in touch with the body's feedback system. So let me give you a couple of examples. I've got some things written down here. Someone came to me with knee pain, and they said, well, they were just asking me, they said, you know, I've had a knee replacement, and the other knee is starting to bother me now, and I'm worried I'm going to have a second knee replacement. And I said, well, maybe you'd like to work together. And she said, well, listen, I'm already on anti-inflammatories from my doctor. I'm taking supplements. What else can you do? And I said, well, I can make it so that you don't need the surgery. Oh, can you? Yes. So we worked together, healed the problem in the knee, reversed the symptoms, and the knee is in good shape. It's never had surgery. So that's what's possible with this type of healing. So knee pain. Knee pain is something that a lot of people might encounter. Hip pain is also another issue. So I work on the hips in a very similar way to knee pain. In homeopathy, there's a whole chapter of my manual devoted to hips, all different things that can happen with the hip. And so I can determine, based on what the body tells me intuitively, what the root cause of someone's hip pain would be. Is the hip joint deteriorating? Is there a problem in the ligaments and tendons? Is it actually a joint issue, or is it all the bones? What does this particular hip need? And it could be a remedy for the nerves, for the connective tissue, for the bones, ligaments and tendons, as I said. So it's quite in depth, the extent to which you can determine, and then you can look at specific elements. You can look at phosphorus as an issue. Everyone would think of calcium. Strontium is a really big one. It's a very important mineral, strontium, boron, calcium, phosphorus. So you work with what the body tells you. Knee pain, with digestive issues. Many people have digestive issues. And so they'll say, you know, I'm on supplements, I'm taking probiotics, I'm taking this, I'm taking that. I'm seeing a health practitioner, and they've got me on an elimination diet. So what we're doing is we're taking away all these different foods, and I'm down to the basics. And then I add one food in each day and see if I react. And if I react, then I take that food out of my diet. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, that's a lot of work. What do? I can tell from what the body shows me, all the different components of digestion. The stomach has 4 different things that it does. The liver has numerous issues that it performs. There's the gallbladder, the pancreas, and then we get into the digestive system, the intestinal system. There's the duodenum, the pyloric valve, the small intestine, the ileocecal valve, the large intestine. And then there's peristalsis that connects and gets the brain connecting to the digestive system, because the brain makes everything happen. So anything can be brain related. And you're not going to get to that specific amount of detail if you're doing a diet that's just adding and eliminating foods that you know to add and eliminate. There's much more that can be done. And there's many more systems before you even get to the intestines. There's the stomach, the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, and they all have so many different functions. And so I've trained myself to be able to see what exactly would the body need in this particular situation. And then I can make remedies and send emotional healing or physical healing into the body. But that's an interesting thing too. There's emotional cause and there's physical cause. So some things that look like emotions can actually be physical. One woman got in touch with me and said, my son's depressed and he won't go to school. Can you help him? And I said, sure. I had remedies for depression, but that was my first thought. When I actually saw him and tuned into him, I could see that there was an issue in the spine. And what had happened was, I said, did you go away somewhere tropical a few years ago and your son was sick? Yes, I remember that. She had to think for a minute. But they'd been away. He had flu symptoms. He was sick when they returned. And he got over a lot of his symptoms. But what I could tell was there was just something in the spine that was causing a blockage. And that blockage stopped the energy flow from the spine to the brain and back down. So that's how the nervous system works. It goes from the sacrum to the brain and back down to the sacrum. And if anything impedes the flow, then depression can happen. Basically, in that situation, I had determined that he'd had something like a malaria that happened. The flu symptoms went away, but the blockage in there was actually a bacteria in the nerves. And that bacteria was preventing the flow through the spine. And doctors wouldn't be able to find something like that, a bacteria in a nerve. So I did an antidote. He took the remedy, got back to school, and obviously he wasn't depressed anymore. But the mother got back to me and said, his teacher says he's much smarter at school than he used to be. And I'm like, yeah, he has the same amount of effort, will produce better marks because the brain and the spine are working better. But I learned quickly that someone has to be interested in keeping that up. So you can make the brain work better, say, on math, but the person has to be open to keeping the brain interested in math and keeping that knowledge base happening. So basically, thanks for the feedback, everyone. This is really helpful. How this is working today with Facebook Live is if you have any questions that you'd like me to ask, I can ask them and not say your name. It can be in confidence, or perhaps all of you can see the names. I'm not even sure. This is my first time. But someone emailed me today who thought they might not be able to get online, and they said they had a symptom they wanted me to check in on and report about. They had burning lips. And I can imagine this is very uncomfortable to have burning lips. So I thought about it, and I wanted to just use this as a little bit of teaching as well, that in the body, the upper lip corresponds to how the stomach is doing. The lower lip It's funny, I'm watching myself on the movie. The lower lip corresponds to the intestines. So between the stomach and the lower lip is the duodenum, and that's where B12 gets absorbed. So if someone has dryness here, cracks, they're having trouble with B12 absorption, and that involves the stomach and the intestine. So for this person, the burning lips, I would say to them, you could certainly, anyone could recommend putting help, but that's temporary. It's not the root cause. So when I checked into their body was showing me the duodenum. The duodenum is the beginning of the small intestine. That was inflamed. And I got a sense that this didn't happen overnight. So I said, have you had a history of dry lips? Yes, I've had a history of dry lips. They have, they've been using a lip balm for years, you know, chapstick or what have you. Lots of people do. People buy cases of this stuff. They should invest in the company. But they never look at what's going on underneath it. Why is it those lips are dry? My lips have not had this symptom, and I couldn't understand it in other people. So now in this particular case, I would say dry lips, long-term issue, duodenum, and then I can send healing to the duodenum, which is energy healing, and I can also make a remedy and have them take something that reverses the root cause to treat not the lips, but the duodenum, and then see that the lips get better by treating the duodenum. So what's going on inside is showing you on the outside a symptom, and symptoms can be just like the tip of an iceberg. It's not deep enough. To treat the lips with a lip balm is treating the symptom and not the cause. And so there are so many digestive issues. Let's see if anyone has, yes, that a physical issues can cause depression. It's very important for the brain to be working properly, and I do it like that, but actually the brain moves and then it goes, the energy goes down the spine and back up to the brain and down the spine. So it's like an infinity, and it crosses over at the back of the neck. And so if you have some congestion in the back of the neck, most likely the whole spine isn't flowing. And it would make everything really congested in your head. You may not even feel congestion, you might just feel depressed. So anytime the brain's not working properly or the brain and spine together don't work properly, you can have depression. And it's an easy fix. So it's really important not to think that depression, oh my gosh, I'm depressed, oh, I'll never get over this. Very important to realize that anything can be reversed. I also wanted to mention here that being World Health Day, Haiti at the gallery upstairs has graciously offered to have me speak, and she's also got a talk at 3 p.m. Regarding cannabis oil, using cannabis oil for health. And that will be a very informative talk that you might want to tune into as well at 3 p.m. Basically, if anyone has a question, please let me know. And you can also apparently message me privately on this, but I'm not sure how that works. I can see how the messages go. Thanks, Penny, for letting me know I'm loud and clear. Love that. Always practical. You need to know because it's the first time. Let me look at some of the other things that I had on my list. Oh, yes. I wanted to tell you, with the COVID virus happening, COVID-19, there are several things, like I think it's such a difficult time when people are concerned about a virus and there's nothing that they can do proactively other than being positive. And it's so hard to be positive when the news is emphasizing how many new cases, how many deaths, and at the end they go, yeah, so and there are some resolved cases as well. And there are people, one country reported how many cases they had where the person didn't have any symptoms. So the virus came and went and they didn't have any symptoms. And I think that that's good information to have because then we don't have to worry that if we have symptoms or we do test positive, then there's only one outcome. There's lots of possibilities. But I found it a challenge that I wanted to be proactive and to do some things that would help me to have a strong immune system. Well, I'm working on my health all the time. I know you're laughing. You're like, who wouldn't be working on their health? That's Kathy Walker. She's been doing this forever, even before I was a healer. My parents got me into it. But as I researched online with many different people, I could see that one of the best things to use is vitamin D3. Let me make sure that's in front of the camera. D3, and you can get many different kinds of D3. This is a show and tell part. Here we go. And it doesn't matter what kind of D3 you get. I would say the drops are, and what you do is you turn this bottle upside down over your tongue and wait for it to drop onto your tongue. These are generally 1,000 IU each, and you would want 5 drops once a day. So 5,000 IU of vitamin D. I'd also recommend vitamin C. You might want to take 600 to 1,000 milligrams 3 or 4 times a day, because it does leave in the urine. It won't stay with you like vitamin D would be there for the whole day. There's 2 other things I'd recommend. Zinc. Zinc citrate, I believe, 50 milligrams once a day, and selenium. That comes in micrograms, mcg, 200 micrograms once a day. The reason for the zinc and the selenium, I found later, is that they're very strengthening for the sinus and nose as well as the throat, and that seems to be the area that people first get symptoms, is the nose and the throat. Okay. So Catherine is online, and she said, can you comment on that? And that's as far as I got. So Catherine, let me know the rest of your question. I'm happy to answer. There's also homeopathic remedies. One of the easiest homeopathic remedies to purchase is oxalococcinum. It's an odd name, isn't it? It's a big name. But this is what the package looks like. It's cardboard and, thin. When I open it up, I'll show you. These are all little vials. And so they have all these little granules inside. And you can take 1 vial per dosage, or you can pour like 10 granules into a spoon and then take it by mouth. You don't want to put it in your hand because it'll neutralize homeopathics. This you can buy, and if you don't have symptoms, don't use it. If you ever have the flu, then you can use it then. It doesn't expire. Homeopathic remedies are vibrational and they don't expire. With supplements, they have a best by date, and it's best to use them then. But with homeopathics, this is just one of many, many homeopathic remedies. And I would recommend this as something that anyone could take if they have flu symptoms. If the symptoms go on longer, it's better to get in touch with a homeopath or myself. I'm a homeopath and a medical intuitive. And what a homeopath, or what I would do, is basically, let's see what I'm doing, I'm scrolling down here, is with a homeopath would check in with the person they're working with and what their symptoms are, and what remedy would be best for them. And I've been listening to webinar after webinar after webinar, all the different homeopaths from around the world talking about the best remedies. And I have a short list of 35 from a large list of 60. And then sometimes there's something that's particularly to the person that may not be on one of those lists. And that's the value of working with someone individually. So here's the question. Comment on the vagus nerve, what it does, and can you make a remedy to use the nerve to heal more than one organ at a time? Yes. So Catherine, thanks for your, I just needed to know to scroll down. There was the whole question. So the vagus nerve is how the body connects how the brain connects to different organs of the body. And yes, with each each time the vagus nerve says to me, I'm not connecting, it's often with the intestines that it doesn't connect with, but it does also connect to the large intestine, stomach, liver, gallbladder, pancreas. So there's many different areas of vagus nerve connection, and it is the main nerve pathway to the brain, where the brain sends energy to, okay, do peristalsis, okay, heartbeat, things like that. You're connected. It's just might not be a strong enough connection. And what a remedy will do is make that connection stronger to make the organ work better. So I don't know that they have something for that medically because it's a nerve issue, but that definitely is something I check and work on all the time. I actually have a list here. I don't know how well this is going to show up on the screen, but I have a list here. Let me put it the right way. These are all the things I check in one session, and that wasn't enough. So I started filling the back of the page in as well with diagrams and all the things that I would check on the body in terms of remedies, and it's almost a mirror image here. This is what I check for everyone every time I work with them. I also check on the emotional symptoms. So interestingly enough, some people will come and they'll have many symptoms. They could have diabetes, they could have arthritis, they could have back pain, they could have digestive issues, and they can have all that going on all the time. They could have a huge list of things for me to help them with. But their body will tell me sometimes they need to do some emotional release, or the emotions are holding all this in place. So what does that mean? It could be that they are so upset about something that their healing energy is being taken away, so that they don't have the energy to heal because they're focused so much on what's bothering them. And what's bothering them, they may not even realize. It could be their whole career lifetime of this happened and then that happened and then this happened, and they didn't deal with any of it, and they didn't know they had to deal with it. So I would say to them, okay, here's the issue. You had this stressful situation, and then you had other situations that reminded you of that, and it went on and on for years. And the bigger picture is what you were doing was helping someone who was stressed. You were helping a child, for instance, and you couldn't believe it and you didn't get over it. So now we're going to talk about that, and we're going to see a bigger picture, and we're going to help you let go of it. And then in the same session, I'm going to make remedies and send a physical healing, and the body will start to heal. So I said earlier that emotional symptoms could have physical causes. Physical issues can have emotional causes. We all know about having a headache and being mad at someone. But in a bigger picture, you could have emotions that are pent up about something you're upset about that doesn't get resolved. And that's very, very important to reverse, because without reversing those symptoms or the emotions, you're not going to get the results with the physical body. They could go home and they could take the remedies and nothing will happen, and you'll be like, oh my God, what happened there? One of the first times that ever happened, I had known this person had pneumonia. They were from India. They came to see me and they had a cough. And they said, I've had this cough for years. Nobody's been able to help me. And I said to him, well, when you lie down on your back, you're in pain there, aren't you? And he said, yes. And I said, that's pneumonia. I knew he'd had it a long time because the whites of his eyes were gray. And I said, you've had this a long time. It's subclinical, so they wouldn't treat you at the hospital, and it could be viral related and not bacteria related. So I gave him remedies. I gave him something for his emotions as well. He went, he took the remedies, he came back, and he said nothing changed. And I'm thinking, oh no. So I had already known about the importance of emotional healing, and I said to myself, hey, why would I do that? It's so much work. I could just make remedies and fix everything. But the universe was showing me that's not so. In that week, I had 3 people that all had symptoms that wouldn't go away with remedies, and I had to unravel what was going on for them. So as a healer, this man decided that he could not be healed. He wasn't allowed to have a relationship. He wasn't allowed to have his own life. He had to be a healer, and he couldn't get married. And so, and nobody was there to support him. And he had made a bunch of decisions that weren't accurate. So when I explained that to him, and he started to understand it, and he really got what I was trying to say. It took quite a while because this was my first time unraveling. I said, okay, fine. Now you need to go forward in life knowing this and being different in how you look at what's going on in your life, what's possible, whether you're happy or you're not happy. I gave him the same 3 remedies I'd already given him, sent him home, and in 2 days he emailed me and said, everything's better. I'm like, wow, that was like my study of how symptoms can be reversed by looking at the emotions and doing the physical work. So what's the best way to keep mental health and balance in these times? There's lots of different techniques. There's emotional freedom technique, and that's a tapping system where you tap through the body and it releases stress. You can just even say Om into your own environment. And the deeper the Om, the more you balance the energy. Walking is helpful. You don't have to walk with someone, but when you walk, you release things into the overloaded head, down the spine, into the legs, and down into the earth. The earth is there to receive all of that and then to fill you up with earth energy. I'm sure there's many, many different ways of staying positive. Some of the things that will help are just knowing the bigger picture, talking yourself through this, making sure the phone is ringing for me. So basically, let me see if it's someone who wants to message me. Yeah. So basically, thanks for everyone joining me. I'm here in my kitchen in Toronto, and Heidi's Facebook page is in Milton. As soon as I'm finished this, I'm going to post it on Facebook, so you'll be able to see the entire recording. And I wanted to tell you too that at 3 o'clock there is a half-hour seminar on cannabis oil, and many people can sell cannabis oil. They don't need to be licensed because there's no THC in it. And cannabis has been very helpful with anxiety, sleep issues, appetite. It's, as far as I know, when you take the right amount in a small dosage, there aren't side effects. And you can feel a little bit of something, but it's not like taking anything with THC. So I'd highly recommend that you check it out. Now, let me see, are there any other questions from my audience who, now that I know I can scroll down and see them, let me just see here. Depression. Yeah, depression is a big one. And depression and anxiety are a little bit different. Kidney fear related. Depression is more of a brain issue. And I think if you look at a positive diet, you eat enough protein and vegetables, you're looking at the bigger picture, doing things that de-stress you. And this time I would say buy a puzzle. I've been doing that. Heidi has them. She does drive-by pickups for puzzles. It's kind of drive-by pickup. Who knew? We're all going through this COVID thing together, and I think the world is changing as a result. I think one of the best things I noticed is major large cities are struggling because there's so many Airbnbs out there taking over residences that people now don't have access to as long-term living situations. And so with nobody traveling during this virus time, they're having to look at longer-term rentals. So it's shifting some of the Airbnb situation that they didn't really know how to resolve. But see the bigger picture. Look at my blog on my website. This is my business card. And my website is AskKathyWalker.com. That's my card. There's my website and my email address, AskKathyWalker.com. Kathy at Ask Kathy Walker is my email address. There's my phone number. Get in touch. I'm happy to give you intuitive feedback for anything that you're concerned about, and then give you time to decide if you'd like to work with me. There's no obligation. I enjoy talking to people and helping them in any way that I can. And you can reach me directly on my phone, by email, through my website. And puzzles are amazing. I haven't done puzzles since I was a kid, and I'm here on my own, and it's very relaxing. I have no one else to say, could you take it over for me? It's all me. I've totally enjoyed spending my time here with you. This is my first Facebook Live, and thank you so much for joining me and for watching this video after it's posted. Feel free to get in touch. AskKathyWalker.com or at my email, Kathy with a K, at AskKathyWalker.com. Thanks again, and I'm sure we'll do this again. Just let me know what you'd like to talk about, and we could do it even on my Facebook. Thank you. Bye.